talked about BIM and a little bit of Revit last time, but let's start with what we are going to cover today. So today we are going to start with little introduction, just a little refresher, what Revit is, what BIM is, what are the different file types of Revit. We'll talk about Revit Elements, some templates, user interface. We will also touch upon how we will start a project in Revit. How do we create a new template? And then we'll do grids and levels, and as we go, you'll get the hang of it. So I'm excited. I just want to see how many of my super juniors are excited. As we talked last time, BIM, what is BIM? It's a process in which it's an intelligent 3D model-based process that gives architecture, engineering, and construction professionals the insight and tools to more efficiently plan, design, construct, and manage buildings and infrastructure. So it's not just about buildings, it's about the infrastructure as whole. Anything that you start from conceptual design and you work all the way through detailed design and documentation and operations and construction, everything, all this process needs a steady flow of information. So inputting this information in such a way that you can visualize that information in a 3D way, and you can also import and export information out of it. So this whole process is called building information modeling. It's a very upcoming field in specialty in architecture. Most of the courses, postgraduate courses that you would see you will find some or other way it has building information modeling amalgamated into it. And if not, I would rather say that you start getting more and more equipped with it, because that's not even the future. I would say that's the present. I have one question for you all, and with what CAD BIM software are you already working with? So I did get, some of you wrote to me that you have already are working with Revit, or you have just looked up Revit, or you guys are doing AutoCAD or SketchUp, Archicad. So let's see how many of you have used Revit before, or any other BIM software before. Okay, so anybody who's voting any other, would you please write in the chat box what software have you used? Okay, so I would say most of you are familiar with AutoCAD. And share results. So yes, most of you are familiar with AutoCAD. You are working with AutoCAD. A lot of you are working with SketchUp. That's awesome. SketchUp has also started building up some BIM parts to it. So it's really good if you are, if you're using SketchUp. Archicad, I would highly recommend on your own time. You should see it's very easy to understand. It's getting popularity now. Though we are going to do Revit in this class, but Archicad, I would recommend if you guys, if there is somebody who likes to look at different softwares and likes to see what each software has, you should be able to, oh, somebody's raising a hand, and it is Siddhant. Yes, Siddhant.
Yes, ma'am. Is there any similarities between Archicad and Revit in use in terms of usage or software?
See, the concept of both of them is same. that you have a 3D model and you have information attached to it. I find for some, I haven't been big on Archicad for now because honestly, my job did not require me to. I want to explore more, but it's very user friendly. That's what I've heard from people who've used it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's start with how Revit is a software that enables BIM. So what happens is, like I told you, that Revit will give you options of creating your 3D models, creating your elements the way they are actually there in the real world. So you don't draw two lines and assume that's a wall. You actually draw a wall. You don't draw a rectangle and assume that's a floor. You actually draw a floor. You do not just draw an arrow and say that there is the slope for my floor. You actually do create a sloped floor. So all these things, I mean, you literally, if you do your Revit right, you can create a digital twin of your actual building or whatever actual you're doing. I know some of my colleagues who are so good with Revit, or who are so frantic with Revit, that they use Revit even for their small home constructions. Like if they have to do a deck outside, they will draw it in Revit and they'll take material take-off. Sorry for that. Let me mute my phone. Okay. So, and then the whole process of actually 3D modeling it accurately, and then, using different views to see how it connects, and then importing and exporting information out of it. That's pretty much what enables Revit to be one of the most powerful BIM softwares. Although there are now Vectorworks and Archicad are catching up to it. You should, if you want, I'm pretty sure they have student licenses and they have trial licenses. You can go to their sites and you can download them. So talking about Revit file types. So just like, AutoCAD has DWGs as the drawing files, and then they have DXFs and DWLs and all those file types. And I will not go into what each of these file means, but Revit has basically 3 file types. The first one is .rvt. So that is your project file. So whenever you do a new project, the extension of that file will be .rvt. The next file type is RFA. Okay, so you guys don't even have to write this, because after this presentation, most probably by Sunday evening or Monday, we will send you the PDFs. So what I want you to is totally focus on the training right now, and then you don't have to make, like, there might be some notes that you would want to make, but focus on the training right now. So RFA are the family files. For now, let's consider families as 3-dimensional dynamic blocks that we use in AutoCAD. So they are equivalent. Not like as we go further, you would see that it's much more than a block. But let's say for now, a family is very similar to a block. Next is the template files. So these files are 2 different types. The first one is RTE for project template and RFT for family template. So templates are very, very important, especially when you're doing a big or a complex project, or when you're doing when you're working in an office that does certain kinds of projects. So let's say one of your offices is just doing high-rise residential. So they create their templates in which a lot of the content is preloaded, and that's where your Revit file starts. So as we go further, I will show you different file types. You know what? Let me just turn on the Revit right now. So this is how Revit interface looks like. Let's go to home. So this is, if you turn on Revit, if you launch Revit, this is what you would see. So you have models in here, which are your RVT files, and you have families in here. But whenever you start a new project, you would see a template file. So what it's doing is it's picking up a template. Even your AutoCAD files have, you start with a template, but Revit templates are a little bit different in their nature. You have different kinds of template in here. You have architectural template and structural and construction, and then you have imperial and metric templates. And you can really also create custom templates, and you can use your own templates. So if you see here, create new, it says a project and a project template. So mostly what we do here in our office is that we create a template where we have the content that we use all the time. So let's say the kind of doors, the kind of furniture, the kind of walls, all of that, we create a template out of it. And that's where we, you know, it's a suppository of information. Oh, sorry, repository of information. And that's about, it's a repository of information where you have everything that you need, so that you don't have to keep on importing different kind of families or importing different type of line types and stuff like that. And if you press OK, you would launch a brand new project. So you see that a brand new project would look something like this. It would have a project browser and properties. What are these? We'll get to it. But just giving you a look and feel of what it is. This is how a Revit window would look. It straight away goes to your level 1. Let's talk about Revit Elements first. So in Revit, we have basically 3 types of elements. So there are model elements, there are datum elements, and then there are view specific elements. So model elements basically are everything that exists in real life. So your walls and floors and beams and columns and pipes and ducts and sprinklers, anything that exists in real life is your model element. However, your datum elements are your imaginary datums or lines that are there for your reference, but they do not exist in real life. Now, grids, levels, reference planes, these are all of my datum elements. The third part is, and whenever we talk, we will always talk in terms of, okay, this is a model element, or this is a view specific element, or this is a datum elements, and these have very specific kind of properties. The view specific elements are your text, your tags, your annotation, dimensions, detail lines, filled lines, hatches. So these are view specific elements. So what happens is, if you draw a wall, and that wall will have a certain, it would look a certain way in a floor plan, it would look a certain way in elevation, and it would look a certain way in section. However, when you draw grids, they would maybe in a few views, they would look a certain way, and then in some views, you would not see them. So for example, you do not see grids in 3D views, but you see your model elements in 3D view. Then your annotations, they are only visible in the view that they are drawn in. So let's say you detailed a ground floor plan, you put all your details into that, you did dimension. Now your first floor plan is exactly the same. So you kind of just copy the floor plan from one floor to the other. You will only copy the model elements, you will not be able to copy the view specific elements. So all the dimensions and detail lines, everything you will have to do again on that floor plan. So, I mean, there are ways to copy it, but for now, let's think that they are view specific. So they are only visible in the view that you draw in. There are, and as we move forward in this training program, we will see that how just categorizing these three in different elements, how does it help us understand Revit even more, even better. Let's look at the Revit project environment. So I just showed you how this looks. We do have something like different things in here, a home screen. So if you press home screen, you go into right here. I'm going to give you the software demonstration right away. There's a file tab and there's a ribbon. I'm now going to go back to the Revit and I would show you right here. So this is your home tab. If you click on your home tab, you come back to the home page. And then if you again click it, you go back to the project environment. Now, the file tab is the one where if you click this, you can go open new file, save, export, print. And then if you say, you want, like if you go to, let's say, new, you would see how do you open a new project or a family or a conceptual mass, a title block. So all these kind of Revit files it would open. And this is ribbon. Everything here from this tab all the way here, this is ribbon. Now what this ribbon has is, it has different elements. First of all, the architecture, structure, the steel and precast are pretty new. They are, you will not find them in 2018 version. 2019 had some steel, but not a lot. Precast is also very new. Systems is mostly your MEP, your ducts and your pipes and stuff like that, and your plumbing fixtures. Then you have an insert tab where we use this tab for linking different other file types. We will cover this as we go forward. Annotation, where we do use this for dimensions and tags and hatching and stuff like that. So this is what you can go through this one by one to see what each of these tabs say. And then under this, you will find each tab has something. So let's say, for example, when you're doing some landscape modeling, so this is where you would go. Or you're doing some conceptual massing, this is where you would go to get that conceptual massing. And then if you are doing doing a collaborative project in which 3 or 4 people are working in the same project and you want to work on the same file, you use collaboration tab to do that. We will cover them one by one, but this is my ribbon. Now let's see from beginning. Sorry. Now this is my properties panel. Now what my properties panel does is, this is where most of the BIM takes part. This is the BIM part of Revit. Now properties have, and as it says, whatever element or whatever view you are in. Now let's say when in Autocad, what we used to say, these are drawings. Ground floor plan drawing, first floor drawing, elevation drawing, section drawing. Here we call them views. Why? Because we are actually working with the 3D view. If you are at a level 1 plan, you're actually looking at a level 1 view. So let's say You cut the level 1 at certain level and you're viewing it. So that's why these are elevation views, plan views, section views, 3D views. So this is call out views, detail views, everything, because the nature of Revit is very, very three-dimensional. That's why we call them views. So we have properties panel in here. If you want to really know what properties panel does and what we do with each of these tabs in here, I would highly recommend, we just completed a what do you call it, a playlist on our YouTube channel that explains these properties in detail, that what it does, how you can change the properties of certain elements. So let's say, for example, if you click on a wall, it would show you, let's do this quickly here. So this is a project. And if I click on one of these walls, I can see the location, the base constraint, the top constraint. The base constraint is where where the base is. The top constraint is where the top is. Then if you need some offsets from the top and the base, you would see that. So everything possibly that wall would require in terms of information, it's in the properties tab. But if I click just outside, then it's giving me the information of this whole view. So it's giving me the scale information, it's giving me the graphics information, it's giving me the extents. If you really want to understand what properties does, do go to our YouTube channel, you will see this. Next is after properties panel, we have the project browser. So this is where we browse the project. So you will have different view types, let's say floor plan. So level 1, 2, 3, how many ever levels you have, and ceiling plans. And you know, ceiling plans are reflected ceiling plans, as you call them, we call them in India, but we just call them ceiling plans here. Elevation views, and then you can create as many elevations as you want, north, south, east, west, but then you can actually put your elevation marker anywhere in the building and create a view, elevation view out of there. You have drafting views. Then we have this is called control panel. Why am I emphasizing so much on user interfaces? That if we understand the user interface of any software, pick any software and take some time to understand the user interface, I guarantee you've understood the software at least 50%. So this is the control panel where you can change the scale, you can change the finesse of the model. So if it's a coarse view or medium or it's fine view, each one of this has a specific function. I would recommend that the exercises file that I give you, try to use this. Like I said, along with the training, I do maintain the YouTube channel. We are coming up with a playlist that will have this, that will have, will show you how we work with different commands in control panel. Now, unlike Revit, Autocad is very, like, you use your mouse a lot. There are shortcuts, there are some keyboard shortcuts that we use, but mostly you can navigate everything from your ribbon. Now even AutoCAD has now ribbon and everything, but I remember back in 2003, 2 or 3, when I started learning AutoCAD, I remembered like more than 100 commands. I didn't use a lot of mouse. I did use like the mouse was used for panning and scrolling and stuff like that, but most of the commands we knew by heart. So you can also do that in Revit. So I'm quickly going to show you something really nice. So let's say, for example, there are some keyboard shortcuts that you really like, and you want that, you know, if I want to be speedy enough in Revit, I want that if I say M, it should move it, or if I say CO, it should do the copy, or if I say X, I mean, it gives a certain command. So you can actually do that. So how do we do it? If you go into your File tab and you go into Options, you would see here a lot of options that you can work with. Here you would see save interval, when you can save the file. You would see the journal files. Journal files are basically my backup files. And then your username. So if, let's say it's Chetna Chauhan, who's the user of this Revit version, you will have your username in here. This is like in your user interface, you can just go and use this to customize your user interface. Different tabs, like, so when you go in here, there's something called keyboard shortcuts and customize. Now here you can actually, there are a lot of commands that are already in there, like LI for line, or CM for placing a component, and MD for modify, and stuff like that. But if you can always define your own. You can say search a command name move and enter, and you should be able to let's see, modeling tab, architecture tab, let's see. So for architecture tab, we already have some commands in there, but let's say I want for model text, I want a command empty and assign. So now empty is for my model text, or for wall, it's for wall, it does not have any, it has WA, but let's say if you're working on roof by footprint, so you can click on that and assign RF and assign. Okay, so it says RF is currently assigned to reinforcement. Duplicates are allowed. Cancel. So let's say RF assign. So it assigns. So the commands that if there are any keyboard shortcuts that you want to put into that, you can, and it will make your life really simple especially when you're moving from AutoCAD to Revit. But just tell me how many of you now use, you can raise your hands and I would see, use keyboard shortcuts in AutoCAD and not use ribbon in AutoCAD. Oh, so quite a lot of you do use, okay. So all those who've raised hands, you do use keyboard shortcuts. Amazing. Yeah, you can lower your hands now. Thank you. Next, let's see from slide. So user interface, what is user interface? The definition of user interface is that a place where you can find all the tools and all the utilities that you can use for the model to or make your work organized. So this is we talked about how do we put on the user interface. So if you just go in your architecture tab, all the way at the end, you can turn on and off different kind of different windows inside your Revit. So we'll show you. So this is a view cube. This is very similar. I think now AutoCAD also has something like this. There is project browser. There are view names. You can expand or collapse these from here. To see what view is active, the one that is a little bold or a little dark, that view is active view, and the ones that are not dark are not active view. So we have groups, we have view names. Then if we talk about it, these are property panel. So you can turn on and off your properties panel. You can turn on your project browser. Each one of this has in your, let's say in your properties panel, you have a graphics group in which you can manipulate the graphics of your drawing, or extents group that will have, you can change how much wider on the plan you would want to see, or how deep you want to cut it. So as we move forward, do see how we use all these groups to work in Revit. You can also turn on and off your recent files. This is a little older, like we do now have a different kind of view, but this is pretty much how we look at it. You have browser organization. So right at where you see your project browser, you would see browser organization, and you can see how you can organize your browser in a way that you like. I'll give you a quick example. So let's say one of these projects I'm going to take up, and right now how I have organized my project browser is that I have my sheet views. So the views that are going to go on sheets, then they're arranged according to the scale, and then they're arranged according to their whatever floor plan category they are. So let's say I have 1:200 scale floor plan, which is my site plan. Then I have 1:100, quite a few. So I have 1:100 floor plans, and then I have ceiling plans, and then elevations, and then 1:50 scale, I have sections, and then 1:20 scale, I have a fire exit. So all these different kind of plan views, or the elevation views, or the section views. So how I've organized it is this way. You can organize it the way you want. What we basically do is we go to project browser. I've created my own type. You can create your new type and name it. I'm going to name it Chetna, and this is how Chetna prefers. So I want to group them, let's say, by discipline, and then by scale, view scale, and press OK. Now what I want is, I want this to be my current. Now just see what happens. So now discipline, it is architecture. Then my views are arranged according to the scale. And then you see how earlier it was my floor plan views were different, and then elevation views were different categorized. So I did not put that category in. But if I just go back in here and I switch back to what I originally had, the drawing type, and apply, and OK. So I'm again back to my presentation views and sheet views. So these are the views that will go on sheets, and these are the views that I would use for my presentations. And then these are floor plans. Now here you'll see floor plans and ceilings, ceiling plans and elevations. If you go here, you'd see sections. So whatever scale that I've applied to, it goes right in here. Coming back to the browser organization. We can organize the browser the way we want. Now let's look at the family environment. So what we did was, we did talk about when we open a Revit project, what are we looking at? So we're looking at ribbon, different tabs, what do they do? But we also have to be familiar with how family environment works. And it has different tools than a project environment. Now, where I had architecture and structure and systems and precast and steel, all these tabs, I just have a create tab, in which it is giving me option of creating different kind of shapes and different types of models. So it's not giving me, because what it's telling me is that create anything and name it your chair, create anything and name it your table, create anything and name it your plumbing fixture. So it gives me all the tools in which, let's say I draw a circle and I extrude it the way and it becomes a cylinder, or I have a square at the base and the circle at the top, and now I do a blend extrude. So it's giving me a blend extrude. So it does give me options to create different different shapes, and then I will name the shapes the way I want to. Actually, creating families is a very advanced topic in Revit. What we will cover in here is that I will show you how you can edit families in a project environment, how you can how you will be able to parameterize your families within Revit. We will be able to see that. But if you are interested in doing a full-fledged program just in content creation, in family creation, then it's a very advanced topic in itself. And because it has, that's like a 5-week course and about 18 to 20 hours of course in itself. I'll try to touch as much as possible families in this session, but it's a very specialized, and we will, if I start talking about families right now, we would really not get anywhere on the training. So we have three different type of families. The one are model families. The other ones are annotation families. So even your text and not your text, I would say your tags and your room symbols and all of that stuff is an annotation family. Of course, your actual furniture and your actual, even walls are families. Even everything is a family in Revit. Walls are families, floors are families, stairs are families, curtain walls are families. Every model element is basically a family. Now these elements basically, these are the ones that you cannot change much. You can change some properties into it, but you cannot create them from scratch. But let's say your furniture and your any kind of millwork, any kind of cabinetry, that is all something that you can change. So there are different kind of families also, but all these are model families. Your tags and your detail lines and all of that are your annotation families. And then there are profile families. So profile families are a very specialized type of family. And just touching on it lightly, I would say that this is like a cast. So it's a cast in which you put what you want and it will come out the way. So say for example, I want to do a sweep, I would need a profile for the sweep. If I need a swept blend, I would need a profile for that. So I have to create different profile families, and these are simple. So just think about an aluminum channel, aluminum door that you create. So you have the frame, and that frame is so complicated that you cannot draw it right in your extrusion. So you would need a profile family that it can extrude from. So it's, and that's why I said Revit works a little differently than AutoCAD, but it's, and that's because the information part of it, that it's taking the information as something that it might be able to export tomorrow. And that's why we have different families. And these families are basics of parametrization in Revit. Setting up a new project. Okay. Before even we go this further, just quickly tell me, what is the first thing that we decide when we start a project, any project? And you can write your answers in the chat box. Whenever we start a brand new project, a renovation project, what is the first thing after your requirements are done? What is the first thing that you would do on a project? I cannot see a lot of participation. So people who do not participate will get an assignment. See, now the answers are coming in. Nobody wants to do an assignment. Okay. I think except for Daya, Anmol and Hunar, everybody wants an assignment, right? So okay, somebody said scale, somebody said templates. So you did not understand what I said. The first thing we decide when we start a project. So scale changes from drawing to drawing. Template is when you have already opened up the project. So levels and grids is the first thing that we actually decide when we have started the design of the project. Okay, that was nice concept. That's like an architect talking to me. But levels and grids are the first thing. So how many floors are we talking about and what my grid is going to be? That's the first thing that we decide. Even before we go to grids and levels, I want to open up Revit and I want to show you a few things. The first thing that I want to show everybody is how do we create a new project from a template. So surprisingly, we have talked about all these things. Now, let's say, and we're just 1 hour in this and we're already done. Am I moving too fast? Am I being very fast for some of you? If you are, oh, okay, great. Yeah, I don't want that I lose you guys some way or the other. So let's start with a new project. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to launch Revit. So if you have to start, not even start, let's say I give you an exercise file and you have to, what I'm going to do is sharing the screen. So I've brought my Revit 2021 icon right here. So whenever you have a Revit file, and actually this works for any Autodesk product that you're using, be it AutoCAD, be it Revit, be it any other Navisworks or anything. Whenever you get a file that's in that software, do not directly click on the file because there are chances that the file is in a different version and you upgrade it or do something to it. The best practice to open up any project in Revit is, or any Autodesk software, is that you launch the program first. So whatever version you have, and let's say your clients or your teachers have given you, or even I give you an exercise file, what you should be doing is you should be launching the Revit first. The Revit is being launched on my other window. I will share that window with you guys, right? So when you launch Revit and you have a file that is already open, or you want, sorry, any file that you want to open, you should not even click here. You should not click on that project file directly. What you should be doing is you should go to open, and a dialog box like this. So everything is popping on my other window, and I just keep on moving it to the window that I've shared. But it will open up a dialog box like this. You go to the location where the file is. So let's say right now I don't have anything on desktop, but let's say in my downloads, let's see if I have a Revit file in downloads. I don't. Wow. Let's go to my OneDrive, and this is where the project file is. So what I should be doing is I should go inside wherever my project is. I will go there. I will click on the file. If I see the icon right here, means I'm going the right way. Now, if you notice this whole window, like we are sometimes in so much rush that we do not notice that there are a lot of things right when we are opening up, we need to take care of. So if my file was a work shared file, then I would have these options. You see this, the work sharing. Now, what's a work shared file? It's the file in which you collaborate with your teammates and you all work on the same file. So it has a different concept. So it has a central file. In that central file, you make local copies, work on those local copies, and you synchronize the changes. So we will touch upon a little bit in our training, in this training. But if it's a work shared, if let's say you've been working on a project for a long period of time, because it's such a complex project and so much of information and 3D modeling, everything combined, in a very complex project, I would say you should audit your file every once in a while. I usually do it at least once a week. Sometimes if it's not, the project is not going too fast, I do it every 2 weeks, but it's a good practice. It keeps your errors in check. It saves your file from corruption. It saves your efforts. If there are any errors, small errors, it fixes the errors itself. So it's a good practice that if you are at, let's say you decide to do your thesis in Revit, and there's a lot of changes and back and forth that's happening. I would say that at least every 3 to 4 days, do consider auditing your file. The next thing that you should do is, I'm going to open a simple file. I've already opened all these. So let's say I click one of these. Now just see, because I had created this project in Revit 2020, it might ask me, I'm not, oh, did we create it in 2020 or 2021? I can see the icon. Let's see, let's open it. Okay, so we did, I think, we did upgrade this. Okay, forget it. I want to show you that what happens if you would quickly go and open a later file, a previous file in a later version. Let's go to open. I'm going to open one of the projects that we did in a previous version. Okay, let's see this. Yeah. See, it's giving me, it's already telling me the model is being upgraded from Revit 2019 to 2021. So if you do not wish to do it, just cancel it right away. Because if you do not and the file gets upgraded, then you cannot, and like, you know, in AutoCAD, you could save the file in a lower version. In Revit, you cannot do that. So if you upgraded your file in a latest version, then that's the only way you will have to work. You cannot open. Okay, so Paris is asking, can we have two Revit versions installed at the same time? As I had worked Revit 18 for all of them, now I'm using 2021, so the upgrade will affect the files. Yes, you can. The only thing that you have to take care is that when you're opening your older files and you don't want them to be upgraded, you should launch your Revit 2018 and then open the file from there. Because if you do not do that, like I said, it will upgrade your files. Okay, great. So this is how we will, okay, what about auditing? Auditing is present in all the versions. It's there in, it was actually introduced in 2013 version. And after that, it has been there for a while. But yes, if you audit it in if you audit a file that was created in 2018 version and you audit in 2021 version, there are chances it will upgrade it. So yeah, you can have, depending on how powerful machines you have, you can have 2 or 3 or 4 versions of Revit. It's not a problem. They work perfectly fine. When I was working with IBI Group, I had, because I was working on different projects, and each of those projects were started in different versions. I had all the versions from 2015, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Yeah, I had 5 versions, but it was a good computer. It could support all of them. I could actually also work at 3 different versions at the same time. So opened a 2018 file and a 2016 file and a 2015 file. As long as I'm opening them in the right version, I'm good. But the moment I upgraded, and you know, the upgrade also screws your file, sorry for the word, but it actually spoils your file even if it's in the work sharing. So let's say you had, there were 4 people working on a work shared file. One of them just decided to open it in 2021 version and rest of you are working in 2018. You will all have to upgrade to 2021. Next is that how will we set up a new project? So the thing is, first thing that we have to do is when you are opening up a new project, it's going to ask you for the template. You can select one of these templates. You can also browse and you can create your own template files in there. So right now the template files in my computer, they're in C drive in this folder. But I'm also going to show you that you can change the location of your template file. So if you go to options and you go to file locations, so here is where you can see all the locations. Now, if I say that I have a template file, I have a BIMWise template file, and I want to, add that file into there. So what I would go is I would go here plus, I would go into my net, not my net. And so OneDrive. So it takes my, and let's go to BIMWise. And it's looking for templates. There should be one template file in there. So these are two template files, but these are some of our clients that we work for. Just one of this. So if I say this is a template file that I want to use, I can use that. This is a residential file that we, residential template that we use. So I can actually open this. So that will be my template. It will, and then if I press OK, now if I go and open new project, now here in the list, I can find this template. If I go here, I can actually press. Now the template was also made in 2019, so it will upgrade it. I don't mind upgrading it right now. It should not take centuries though. 63, 64. Okay. I'm just going to cancel. Oh, okay, great. So this is my landing page where I have like my project name and everything. I can start with my floor plan level, my below grade level. So basically basement or anything which is below my ground floor level, we call it below grade. But my level 1 plan, and this is where I will, it's an empty canvas for me right now. Somebody mentioned about units. Now units are, sorry, but so if I go to manage tab, I will be able to find units in there. I can see that if the units are imperial or metric in here, I can change the units if I want to. There are different kind of units. There are common units that are used with everybody, but then there are units for electrical infrastructure. Let's say look at structure, so it will have the structural jargon in that. So stress and velocity and weight per length, all of that. Or if I go to electrical, it would have those units in there. Right now, let's focus on common. Which is my angles and areas and stuff like that. I can change if I want to. So from square feet, I can change to square meters, millimeters. I can do as whatever I want in this. That's we can change the length. We can do the precision. So it's inches right now. If I want to make it to feet, I can do that. I can change the round off, all of that I can do from here. And now I start with grids. Okay, how many of you are interested in knowing if you have a CAD file and you want to import it in Revit and you want to draw over it? Obviously, yes. Nothing is obvious in this world, but okay. Okay, okay. You guys can lower your hands now. So there is something called an insert tab in there. And in insert tab, there's something called a link CAD. And then there is something called import CAD. Now you can import or link both. However, the recommended way is to link CAD. And why is that so? Because if you import CAD, let's say you created a grid in CAD, you talk to your teacher and they don't have, they do not have Revit on their system. So what you want to do is you want to quickly draw something on AutoCAD, show it to them. Once they approve of it, and you want to import it in Revit and you want to make changes. While you were making changes, you decided that, oh, you know what, this is something that I want to quickly show to my teacher. So you do not, without making changes in your Revit, you just made the changes in CAD and you want to show it to your teacher. The import that you did in your Revit model, that becomes obsolete. So it's a dead import. Plus, imports also make your model very heavy. However, if you link your CAD, what you do is, let's say I need to have a CAD file, and that's let's see. Okay, I will have to find a CAD file. Anyways, but if you had a CAD file, you simply will link that CAD file. And then at the end of, from your manage links tab, if you would have that CAD in LinkedIn here, you just have to refresh and reload, and the link becomes dynamic and will show you the latest changes. But if you did the import, it's just one-way traffic. With link, it's a two-way traffic. So always import. Let me see quickly if I can find an AutoCAD file here. And okay, I think I found one. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go link CAD. I placed a file on my desktop. .dwg, and now what we can do is colors, either we can preserve, we can invert, or we can make them black and white. For now, I would want to preserve the colors. The layers, we can choose what layers we want. We can say specify, import units. Now I know that the file that I'm working in is in inches, and this file that I'm working is in metrics. So I would go with millimeters. Okay, positioning right now it's automatic, but you can also manually position it. What does share coordinate mean? We will cover that eventually. But place at what level? You can place it at whatever level you want. Orient to view means that it shows you the exact view that it is. Like it is not, I mean, if you do not want it to be oriented to the view that you are at some angle, you can specify that. Now, if I go to open, now because I said specify the layers, I can actually choose the layers I want to import. For now, let's say I don't want 0 and I don't want def points. Okay. Oh, it's not importing because it's, so this is another thing. Now, because this AutoCAD file was in a previous version of Revit, sorry, of AutoCAD. So this is also one thing that we have to be very careful about. 2021 will not entertain 2019 or 2020 version of AutoCAD. So this is one thing Autodesk is really dumb about, but we can't deal with it. So to import a 2021, to import a 2019 AutoCAD file, I will have to upgrade it, which is going to take a lot of time, but this is how we will upgrade this. I would just cross this out. I would live with it. So this is one assignment that I can give you guys. So take any one of your AutoCAD files that you've already worked on, link it in Revit, and save that file as your name and with the suffix of your year of like 2016 or 2017, and send it to me. So I will see, and this is totally voluntary. I'm not, this is not going to be graded or something, but this is something that if you really want to see if you did it right or you wanted any comments on this, you should do it. So upgrade your AutoCAD, link it in, and see if you get any problems. If you face any hiccups, if there's anything that you want to ask, that what did go wrong here or anything, just send me an email. Okay, so Daya says, I have 2019 CAD, how will I figure it out? Daya, you will have to either get Revit 29. I don't think you can get a student version Revit 2019. You cannot get it. You will have to upgrade your 2019 AutoCAD file if you want to link it in. So install an AutoCAD 2021, upgrade your file, copy the file first, make a copy of it, upgrade it, and then link it in. These are the few, these are, can we live sync the AutoCAD and Revit? So what we can do is that if somebody is making changes on AutoCAD file, you reload it. I will quickly show you right now. If you can see, there is this reload from and reload button in here. So this is, if you reload from the same link, you will have the live version of your CAD file. So you can do that. That's not a big problem. But your Revit and your AutoCAD need to have the same version. If I had maybe, I don't have actually Revit, sorry, AutoCAD on my system right now. If I had AutoCAD on my system, I would have definitely upgraded it and I would have showed you. Maybe by next time, by next class, I do that and then I can show you guys. But in the meanwhile, I would highly encourage that you guys do it on your own time. Let's move forward with the grids. So we can create grids from the architecture tab or from the structure tab. So click on any of these two tabs, but you will find the grid option in here. And similarly, if you go to elevation view, so right now we are in plan view, but if you go in elevations, with grids, you will find another tab, which is levels. Obviously, you cannot create more levels. You cannot create levels on a plan view. So for a lot of things, Revit is a very logical software. I mean, it's very hard to manipulate some things in Revit. So yeah, let's go to our first lesson of how to create a grid. It's very simple. If you had, so you know what, if I hover over this, you can see that there is a GR, which is a keyboard shortcut. So you can do a GR You can click on that. So I'll do GR, and I'm in a sketch mode right now. So one more thing that Revit does is if I click on something, there's an additional tab that opens up in here. Just see this. It had modify. Now when I click tab, it gives me place grids. Now I have an option of drawing a line from one point to the other, drawing a curve, 3-point curve, a 2-point curve with the center, or I can pick lines. So pick line would be very beneficial if you had an Autocad underlaid and you could just pick lines over it and you could draw the grid over it. Let's do this. Let's draw a grid. I have Revit 2018 and Revit 2021. Is it compatible? No. AutoCAD and Revit have to be compatible for this. They are compatible for the same version. Sorry about that. Anyways, so let's go to grid. Now, if I did draw the grid. It's a big grid. Now I don't like the distance. The maximum distance that I want in my grid is 15 feet. So let's say, so what I can do is I can click here. Instead of 32 feet, I can just say 15 feet. I type 15 feet and enter. So it will move the grid line, the one that I had selected. Let's do it again. Oh. So now if I select this one and I say, instead of 32 feet, I want 15 feet. So this line moved. And then again, I can do 15 feet. So that moved. So let's do this. Let's do this as 15. 15 feet and 15 feet. Is anybody working? Yes. So Daya is asking, now this is datum element. Yes. So grid is a datum element because we will only see grid in some views, and in some views we will not be able to see it. So this is my vertical grid. Let me draw a horizontal grid. And that's going to be my 10 feet. I just drew them randomly. What I can do is it's saying 16. I can say I need this one as 10 feet. And and 10 feet. And 10 feet. So I got this grid. And now I don't like grid. Grid cannot be set just by giving X and Y distances, even if it's even. We're coming to that. So now what I would want to do is, I want to specify some grid bubbles. So let's say I want right now here, it says it does not have a grid bubble. So I will go to edit type. I think I might need another family in here. Single. Komal, do we not have, Komal, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yep.
Do we not have the family that had the bubble at the end?
No, we do have the families.
It's not in there.
That maybe because you updated your
No,
Revit.
no.
We do have.
there.
Let me.
You see, we do not have it in here. No, we do not have it in here. So can you please make a note of this that we can check this file?
Yeah, sure. I'll make it.
Okay. Mostly we can select the different grid type and you will have a grid bubble in there. Okay, let's do one thing that we can. Just 1 second. It should have. Annotation symbols and grid. Oh, this is not even the, okay, forget it. Forget it. We're not even working on this. This does not have it. You were working in another Revit file. So let's see this file. So this is my levels file. Let's start with grids file. Grid. So here we go. Thank God. Also, we were using another template and that was maybe the reason. But you can always turn on and off your grid bubbles right from here. And you can have it on both sides. You can have it on one side. Also, what you can do is, we did draw a grid. We can also offset. So what we can here, what we can do is pick line, measure, and just say the distance is 120. And 1200. So my grids are at the distance 1.2. And I want to show you something really quickly, that as I'm moving ahead, it is taking up the numbers by itself. Now let's say I delete these three and again I go to grid, pick line, and 1200. And now I do it again. Now you see, because my last grid was T, I think Paras, I did answer your question. Instead of going back to OPQ, it came back to you. So it does not restart your numbers or your alphabets. It just takes the last one and it succeeds it. So if I move here and V, W, X, Y, Y, Z. Let's see what happens after Z. So now it automatically is giving you a number system. Now let's say I don't like A, B, C. What I want in here is 1, 2, 3. So I would just draw my first grid in here, and let's pick line. And my distance right now, let's take it to 2.2 meters, so 2200. Now what I want to do is, instead of this, I want to just put 1A. 1A. Now let's see what happens. Pick line. I'm putting up the distance 2400. See that? So it does have some intelligence of its own, and you can always change if you don't like it. Now, if you want to move the grids, if you do not like it where they are, you can move them up and down together. And that's because they're all locked together. You see this big locked sign? If I open this, now see this. Oh, they're 3D locked. See this. So you can unlock and move a single grid also. If it goes here and it locks itself, it can lock itself, but you can open the lock and you can move the single grid too. Right now you see it's a 2D locked. Now you can move the single grid. So similarly, you can go with the horizontal grid. Now it says none of the elements created were Y. Okay, let's see Y grids. And why is this not visible? Let's see. Yeah. So you know what was happening? Now this is a good time to see what happens. Silly doubt. What if F renamed as H? Why? Oh no, F wasn't renamed as H, but what happened was that F was, I drew 2 grid lines over there. So after G, instead of moving forward, it was at the back. So it's not, and it's not a silly doubt. It's okay. So see this, what I was trying to do was, this is a good time to tell you what a crop region is. So what we do in Revit is that we can actually, there is something called a crop boundary or a crop region. And when we expand a crop region, you see the grids were already there. But because my crop region was hiding it, I cannot see those grids. And this is how we create different floor plan views, that if I just want to focus on this region, I would just duplicate the view, and I would give it a bigger scale if I want, or a smaller scale. So let's say there's some detail that I want to focus on, and I just want to see this part of that, of my building. So this is where there is something going on. Maybe it's a 1:20 detail that we are focusing on. You see now there's also a section line in there. I can also, rename it as my, and it automatically, see how it here in your project browser, it went into the 1:20. It got categorized itself into the scale type, the scale group. And I would say, instead of copy 1, I would say east wing detail.
I didn't understand that.
Okay. Enter. So we can do that, and then we can do as much as detailing as we want in that particular view. Let's go back to our first floor. And we were not able to see those grid lines because they were out of my crop region. Now, if I turn this off, because I had increased my crop region, the crop region is there, but I cannot see it. So I can turn it on and off if I want. If I shorten my crop view, everything outside that crop view is not visible. Okay. Let's go back to this. I want to delete these. And what I want to do is I want to create a grid right here. Now, when I give you the exercise files, and this is what I'm going to type in your section, in your chat section, that I will give you these exercise files, and now I want you to create a grid on your own time, practice. Create a grid of 3 meters by 1.5 meters in this building. It's not a realistic. Create a grid, and we will quickly move on to how to create levels, and then how to place columns. You can keep on exploring this, but we have to move forward. Okay, and let's move to one interesting thing that I would show you guys is that every time I open a new floor plan, a new tab opens. So right now I have 3 or 4 projects open, and there is one or the other view of, or maybe more than 2. Crop window is there by default anyways. Yes, there it is there always. You can always turn it on and off if you want. So what we should be doing is we should keep check on how many tabs are we opening. I like every few times, I just like to close the inactive tabs and only open the tabs that I need. Now this shows me that these are the 3 projects that I'm working on. This is cancel. This is a grid that we have created, but this is for another exercise. But right now what we will do is we will create levels, and for levels we have to go on the elevation view. We cannot create levels on the plan view. We have to create elevations on the we have to create levels on the elevation view. So by default right now I have 2 levels created. It says ground level 0 mm and first floor 3. Actually it should be, okay, I would say the finished floor level, but okay. Now the levels are the same way. I just have to click on levels. I go pick line. I specify the distance. 3 meters. and I just pick line. So I can create as many levels as I want. I can rename these levels, whatever I would pick up first. I can rename them here, or I can rename all of them here too. Elevations, floor plans. Now, if you see this, we have a floor plan right over here. This is not making floor plans by itself, but if I go here and I say go to floor plan, now see what happens. And this is 1:100 scale. So it went onto floor plan, and I will name it as 1.0 SV, second floor.
I didn't understand that.
Yes. And whoa, floor plans. So this floor plan that I created, but it's, you see how this comes under this section, this question mark. It's not right here because I have specified a drawing type. So this is how my template works. It would not be there by default, but my template works in a way that I've assigned either my drawings will be according to sheet views or presentation views. As soon as I go to apply sheet views here and say apply, see, I automatically go here. I can also do it in a quicker way that I would go here in my view tab and plan views and floor plan. And I would say press OK.
I didn't understand that.
Okay, wait, my Bixby is missing me. Anyways, can we change the text size of these particular elevations? We can, but you have to actually go and change the family. So if you want, there are different sizes in here. There is one size in this, no head. So right now, this is a size that I'm using. You can actually, so you will have to go and edit this grid family, and you will see, you can change the size of this. Also, it has, if I, instead of 1:100, if I go to 1:50, then the size changes itself. And Paras, you would get 1 negative point because you're again calling me ma'am. Okay, let's move to all the other levels. So you can rename your levels, right? If I delete this level, it would delete the floor plans, structural plans, elevation, ceiling plans. And I would say, okay, I don't mind. Now, this is a wall that I created. Now what I can do is, I would say this wall has started from 0 and its top constraint, instead of whatever level this is, I would say it goes to level 2nd floor. So it has gone to 2nd floor. Plus what it did was, the top offset is 1500. I would say the top offset is 0. So now this ended right over there. So this is how you can also quickly expand, increase the height of your walls. We will, next class, we will talk about how to do basic modeling in Revit. And this is what we will, we'll draw grids and levels, and we did some basic things. One quick thing I will show you on grids is, okay. So now what I want to do is, I want to dimension these grids. Like right now, if you see, these grids are at different levels. Now, if I want these grids to be equidistant, I don't know what distance. There are from point A to point B, there are 10 grids. There are 10 grid lines. I want them to be at equal distance. I just do this and it gives me an equidistant grid. Now you can also measure this. So there is a modify tool in here. You can measure what's the distance between these two. So right now it says 3085 millimeters, which is 3.08 meters. So I'm going to send you the exercise files. Right now I see 13 attendees here. Only these 13 attendees will be sent the exercise files. Those who signed in and did not attend today's lesson, they will not get these exercise files. I know some of you like to be friends, and it's good to be friends, and you would want to pass on these files. I have no problem, but I would not attend anybody's query who has not attended this class today. I mean, you're happy to share it with your friends. I'm happy to share it with my friends. But other than these 13 people that are in the webinar today, other than these, I will not attend to anybody else's emails. So these are the few things that we covered today about the whole how Revit looks like, the look and feel of it, how to adjust my how to use temporary. Oh, by the way, if I click on one of these, and these two dimensions that I see, these are called temporary dimensions. Then you can actually just, let's say instead of 3528, I just want to make it 3500. So I can adjust this. These are called temporary dimensions. I told you how to do, just a quick sneak peek of how to do dimensioning in Revit. Next class, we will talk about basic modeling, how to do basic walls and floors and stuff like that. If you have any questions, any feedback, we still have about 8 minutes. I am happy to take any questions. Wait, I think the ones who joined a little later, I did not allow them to talk. But now you guys are all allowed to talk. So you, instead of even typing, you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question if you have. No questions? Wow.
Hello, ma'am. I asked, sorry, Chetna. Yeah,
Yes.
I asked how to set up knots. Is it possible to set up knots?
Yes, there are two types of north in here. There's a project north and there is a true north. We will cover that in the next class.
Okay.
Okay. I can quickly demonstrate here in this. There is something called orientation in there. So there is a project north and there's a true north. We will cover this in the next class. Anybody else? Okay, if nobody has any more questions, or even if you, I know you still would need a little bit of hands-on practice. I try to answer your questions as soon as possible. If you guys already have Revit 2021 on your system, you will be able to right away work on the practice files. These practice files do have some basic things to work with, one assignment. It's not like a assignment, but it's for your practice. If you want, draw grids on this, try to draw levels, try to stretch your walls and see how it goes. And if you guys find anything interesting that I did not cover, do let me know. I always love to learn. Thank you so much. You've attended this session. I hope we mutually benefit each other. If I go wrong somewhere, I'm very open to saying that, Chetna, this is not the way we would do it, or this is the way we would do it, or can you cover this? Yes, I would be, yes, Honor, I would be sending the exercises in Revit 2021. All my files are in Revit 2021.
Good morning, Chetna.
Hi, Manjeet.
I tried to install Revit 21 on my system, but it always rejects that 2021.
Do you have enough space on your hard drive? Did you check?
Yeah, I have 66 GB in C drive.
You know what? Go to the system requirements and see if your system requirements are not working. And then, you know what? I am awake. It's 1:30 at night here, but I'm awake for next half an hour or 40 minutes. If you want to do it live with me on a Zoom meeting, I can see what the problem is. Do you want to?
Okay, thank you.
You want to do it?
I'll try. I'll first try, then I'll mail you if there's any
there are
issue.
any problems, send me the screenshot and I will see what problems you face. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, guys. Good morning, and whatever time of the day you are. Good night to me, and we'll meet next Saturday. Okay, bye.